A state senator says it's time for Kentucky's parole board to go. The call for change comes just weeks after a WKYT investigation questioned why a man accused of killing a Richmond police officer had been paroled from prison just months earlier.
Raleigh Sizemore is now back in jail charged with the murder of Daniel Ellis. Tonight, WKYT investigative reporter Miranda Combs looks at the changes that could be made following Ellis's death.
If I had a magic wand, I'd abolish the board today.
I look at your criminal history and I think about why you're in prison, and when you have been arrested so many times, it's not even funny. I mean, just arrest after arrest after arrest after arrest.
Well, I'm the worst criminal in the world. It seems like everything I do, I get caught for.
We are going to recommend you for parole. Please, 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 Mr. Sizemore, for your sake, you know, let's really put your heart into it this time.
It's been just more than a month since police say Raleigh Sizemore shot Richmond police officer Daniel Ellis in the head, ultimately ending his life.
Mr. Sizemore, sir, you have the following rights.
Several months before the shooting, he was released on parole after serving less than 3 years of his 10-year sentence for manufacturing methamphetamine and criminal mischief.
There are a lot of indications showing this is a guy that needed to stay put. So I'm puzzled.
We made 2 attempts to talk to the parole board chairperson. Our initial request was denied. The second time, we got a written response. It in part says the parole board makes approximately 1,700 decisions per month, and each decision is made with the same factors and due diligence. The panel members considered a variety of aspects related to the offender. One of the many factors reviewed was Mr. Sizemore's criminal history. It is a history which revealed a record of forgery, theft, and substance abuse-related convictions. It goes on to say no person or assessment tool could have predicted the heinous act committed by Raleigh Sizemore Jr. The parole board would never deliberately overlook any indication that parole for this or any inmate will result in the harm or death of any citizen. In our sworn duties with integrity and commitment, the parole board will work to the best of our abilities to make decisions that will honor Officer Ellis and keep the Commonwealth we all serve safe. State Senator Whitney Westerfield says he and others have looked at abandoning the parole board before Sizemore's case. And now he says it's even more clear the parole board isn't helping Kentucky.
Eliminating that parole board idea would create a great deal more certainty and clarity to the sentencing process, and I think that'd be better for everybody.
He says the parole boards add too much subjectivity and uncertainty, not fair for victims or the state.
We hope to have something in session, hear some, if not informational testimony about it, then perhaps something with a bill.
There is already a bill that Ellis's brother Eric and Representative Bam Carney would like to see revisited in the upcoming legislative session.
There's obviously a great deal of concern about House Bill 463. And in 2011, you know, I was one of the members who voted for House Bill 463.
House Bill 463 is meant to reduce penalties for some drug crimes and get defendants into treatment instead of prison. However, Carney says there are parts of the bill that need to change, particularly definitions of violent and nonviolent offenders.
If you have multiple offenses, multiple felony offenses, to me, I don't see how you can be considered a nonviolent offender.
I think people are pointing at House Bill 463 because it reflects a different philosophy in terms of corrections approaches, and it has its detractors.
Westerfield says in the past year there's been an increase in inmate populations.
On a very superficial level, it means that the idea that this bill is releasing people just willy-nilly out the door is not really happening.
For any member of the General Assembly, I think, to say that we do not need to revisit House Bill 463, I believe they're misled.
I mean, you can blame it on a bill, and if that gives people comfort, then let the bill be the fall guy, I guess. But it's not ultimately the cause of it at all. It's because parole board members made a bad call.
And Representative Carney also agrees that this was a failure of the parole board too. In fact, he says this was a failure of the system in general. Officer Daniel Ellis's brother Eric is also pushing for lawmakers to revisit House Bill 463 in the upcoming legislative session.
Miranda, sounds like there is still a lot of discussion to be had, and this isn't going away anytime soon.
Right. Hearings for the parole board are hopefully upcoming. Also, House Bill 463, there's a big push, obviously, as you just heard, for it to be revisited. So we'll see.
We know you'll be following it. Thank you.